Hi, this is Andrew again. I serve as one of the spokespersons for Nehemiah Reset. Today I wanted to talk to you about the Book of Numbers. The English title Numbers comes from the two censuses that are central features of this book. However, the Hebrew title, In the Wilderness, is more descriptive of the book. Numbers tells how God's people traveled from Mount Sinai to the border of the Promised Land. But when they refused to take possession of the land, God made them wander in the wilderness for nearly 40 years. Throughout the book, God is seen as a holy God who cannot ignore rebellion or unbelief, but also as the one who faithfully keeps his covenant and patiently provides for the needs of his people. Numbers ends with a new generation preparing for the conquest of Canaan. Traditionally, Jews and Christians recognize Moses as the author, writing during the final year of his life. The book of Numbers is about Israel's 40-year journey through the wilderness toward Canaan, the Promised Land, a place God had long ago promised to their forefather Abraham. Genesis 12 verses 1-3. Numbers begins in the Sinai desert, shortly after Yahweh gave his law to Moses, the man who led the Israelites out of slavery. See Exodus. Numbers end with the Israelites on the plains of Moab, across the Jordan River from the Promised Land. The book contains narratives, laws, poetry, and census lists. The various genres create a holistic picture of the Israelites' journey and their developing relationship with God. The title, Numbers, refers to two censuses taken to count the members of Israel's tribes, one at Mount Sinai, Numbers 1-4, and one in Moab, chapter 26. The Bible often includes records like these to provide a snapshot of the Hebrew people at significant turning points in their history. This time of wandering likely dates to the 15th or 13th centuries BC. According to Jewish and Christian traditions, Moses wrote Numbers along with the rest of the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible. However, the books of the Pentateuch does not explicitly name Moses as their author and may have been compiled over a long period. See the introduction to Genesis. However, Numbers provides the basis for the traditions crediting Moses as author of the Pentateuch in Numbers 33:1. 2. God commands Moses to record the Israelites' movements during their wanderings between Egypt and the Promised Land, and the book may have begun as that account. Numbers also mentions additional literary sources, such as the Book of the Wars of Yahweh in 21:14. References like this suggest that an editor was involved in shaping the book's final form. Numbers can be divided into 3 sections. The first and third sections, which are set 40 years apart, each begin with a census and report the Israelites' preparations for a major move. In the first section, chapters 1-10, the move involves departing from Sinai, 10:11, 12. In the third section, chapters 26-36, the move involves crossing the Jordan River from Moab into the Promised Land, an event described in Joshua 3. The intervening section, Numbers 11-25, is a collection of stories and laws from the 40-year period between these moves. The book can also be outlined according to the major geographical locations it mentions. The book of Numbers centers around 5 different events. They are 1. Preparing to leave Sinai, 1:1, 10:10. 2. Journey to Kadesh Barnea, 10:11-12:16. 3. Wilderness wanderings, 13:1, 20:21. 4. Journey to Moab, 20:22, 22:1. 5. On the plains of Moab, 22:2, 36:13. Numbers focuses on God's provision for the Israelites. In the process, it records detailed laws intended to create a society reflective of Yahweh's holiness and justice. The narrative passages deal mostly with the Israelites' failings, showing what happens when God's people do not live according to his commands. Their mistakes result in calamity and Yahweh's temporary judgment, issued so that he may preserve them from further evil. Despite Israel's failure, Yahweh honors his promise to Abraham and prepares Israel for entering the Promised Land. But there is a problem. Terrifying foes inhabit the Promised Land, and the people see no chance for success against them in war. Chapters 13-14. Although the older generation lacks the trust to let Yahweh overcome these foes and dies in the wilderness, the younger generation, plus two faithful men, Caleb and Joshua, have an opportunity to enter the land. This new generation, led by Joshua, is left with a choice: to follow Yahweh or turn away like the previous generation, 27 to 15, 23. Although Numbers ends without fully resolving this dilemma, the closing chapters anticipate the people's future in Canaan, the Promised Land, e.g., chapter 34. The wilderness journey presents challenges and blessings, all of which invite a faithful response. Numbers show that trusting God is not merely a mental commitment. It involves action and bold risks. But Numbers emphasizes that a risk taken because of our faith in Yahweh is beautiful. It gives God the opportunity to demonstrate His protection, meet our needs, and be present among us. Numbers also show us that God pursues us despite our failings. In relationship with Yahweh, facilitated by our great warrior and advocate Jesus, we find all the direction we will ever need, Hebrews 3-4. I hope this gives you a quick summary of the book of John and the key ideas contained therein. To learn more about other books of the Bible, visit our website at nehemiahreset.org or our rumble.com channel. If you want to support us, like this video and subscribe to our weekly newsletter detailing our recent videos by subscribing at nehemiahreset.org/email. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Hi, this is Daniel again. The previous video was sponsored by Nehemiah Reset, a 501c3 Bible-believing organization. Our mission is to assist Christians in developing a stronger biblical worldview as it pertains to relevant cultural and biblical issues. We seek to inform Christ followers, equip them, and mobilize them into action to vote their biblical values and to actively engage in our culture locally and at the national level. We are committed to help Christians and non-believers to develop a better biblical worldview. Nehemiah Reset produces videos and ebooks to assist believers and explorers in developing a biblical worldview when it comes to cultural and biblical issues. We produce videos on key topics like public school indoctrination, the woke agenda, sex education, equity and inclusion, climate change, immigration, religious freedom, and lessons that can be learned from key subjects in the Bible. To learn more about Nehemiah Reset or to watch our latest videos, go to our website at nehemiahreset.org or our rumble.com channel. We produce new videos every week. To get a free weekly list of our latest videos, sign up for our weekly newsletter by signing up at nehemiahreset.org/email. You can support our website by liking our videos, subscribing to our channel, or providing donations to help us advertise for new subscribers. Thanks for your help in growing God's kingdom and bringing more people to Christ. Thank you for your support and help. Have a great day.